You're muted, Prof.
Okay. Wake up, everybody. Welcome to day 1667 of our Wake Up Everybody virtual community. Our topic today is life and legacy in the village of abundance. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Monday after the 4th of July weekend. I hope everyone had a restful time. I know it's also soccer World Cup season, and I hope your favorite team is doing well, or if they're out of the competition already, I hope they had a very good run. It's been a very exciting and complex year this year in terms of soccer and everything else. So we're talking today about life and legacy in the Village of Abundance. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And it's a short one, so let's keep the space robust, the conversation robust, and the space filled. So welcome, welcome, welcome to day 1667, my goodness, of our Wake Up Everybody virtual community. As you can see, my name is Marilyn Douglas Jones. I'm an educator, author, consultant, and I'm very happy to be here seeing another day. And I hope you are too. So, wrap your mind around life and legacy in the Village of Abundance. I have my usual one or two favorite slides that I'm going to throw in there because I want to keep you top of mind with life and all the financial things that go with it, all the responsibilities that go with it. And of course, legacy is what we leave behind. So wake up, everybody. Welcome to the virtual community. And let's talk about life and legacy in the Village of Abundance. Right? So what's new today? Another week. Here we go.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
Wake up, wake up. Call your friends, call your relatives, call your pets, and tell them, let's have a good talk this morning about life and legacy in our Village of Abundance series. And my name is Marilyn Douglas Jones. Grand Rising. Good morning, Adam. How are you today? Okay. So, our first slide, and we can just move quickly on from that. I've already introduced myself. And so, yes, let's go to that one. Um, you've seen this before. It's our favorite wellness wheel, right? And wellness is both physical, mental, and of course, spiritual, right? Our trinity. And on the wellness wheel, what makes us well? It's related to comfort, it's related to peace of mind. And so we have some little icons there. We have occupational wellness. You have a job that you're satisfied with. Hopefully that job is environmental friendly. Um, Most of the time, our jobs nowadays are indoors. And if you're outdoors, you are part of the environment, either building something or surveying something. Then we have intellectual wellness, and these aren't necessarily in order, um, but you are trained for your job so that you can have that occupational wellness. It's a safe place, both in terms of with your employees as well as you feeling good about what you're doing. Then we have, I'll skip spiritual and go to emotional wellness. Like I said, you feel good about what you're doing, but you're also providing for yourself. Or if you have family, you're also providing for them. And then physical wellness, hopefully we are eating healthy, we are getting enough exercise. If we're sitting at our job, we get up a few minutes, take breaks every 30 or 45 minutes. And then financial wellness, as I mentioned, the pay is good, but how is our life spending, our lifestyle? And that's where we're going to kind of hang on. But then we have social wellness, which means we have friends, we get along with friends and family, we're getting good relationships. If there's a problem, we can work it out. And then I'm going back to spiritual wellness, which is the blue one at the bottom, because all of those things, if they are not in sync, there might be some distractions spiritually. If they are in sync, we're doing the best we can with what we have. We have the best possible relationship with the people around us. Then that leaves room for our spiritual growth. Any questions about that so far? That slide, but that's the details that will guide the rest of the conversation.
Um, I don't have a question, but I do have a thought. I've
Mhm.
been moving more towards my intellectual and financial and physical health more so than anything because I noticed that when I worry about money, it affects everything in this circle. Because if I feel like okay, I don't have enough, so that means I can't be in a peaceful environment. I'm not able to pray as much because I'm like, yo, how can I pray when I don't have money? And I'm emotional, I'm stressed when I don't have money. And like it just affects so many things. And at first I thought all of these things were separate. And they are respectively, but they are all interlinked and they all affect each other in such nuanced ways that only show up when you either have either or. And I'm complete.
Absolutely. Those are the three key ones that we can pinpoint every day that impacts everything else or is impacted by everything else. Mind, body, spirit, right? And so, yes, that's a very good question. They are intertwined. That's why it's a wheel. And so, the intellectual part has more to do with training in terms of um, certification, degree, whatever it takes to do your job well. But it's also because of that training, that background, that fellowship with people in a learning space, um, it impacts, of course, your finances. And if you're in a job like I was, where I was a teacher, I retired from that part of it. Yes, you're getting paid, but you may not necessarily be satisfied with what that takes to do everything else for family and friends and your social well-being. Then you may want to get an additional source of income, because the financial one is the most distracting if it's not where it should be. It takes away from your emotional wellness. It takes away maybe from how you deal with friends and family. They might be doing things you don't get to do because it costs so much, or they may be making demands on you, and you really are in a space where you cannot afford some of the things you need to satisfy them, right? And it's a myth that we should not care about what people think, but we should care about what people think if it impacts our emotional wellness, right? And of course, then the spiritual wellness will kick in. But what are we doing to feel good, basically, about ourselves in lots of different areas of our life? Hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Prof.
Awesome. So we can go to the next slide, which breaks this apart. Um, Starting with a solid financial foundation, right? How have parents oriented you to money? Okay. But what does it take as an adult to have a solid financial foundation? The word foundation takes you to building, right? So, like building a house, you must build it from the ground up. You don't put windows on a wall that doesn't exist, and the wall can't exist unless you have you have a solid foundation, right? The more solid, the better. So we want to build it strong so that we're comfortable into that wellness space. And we want to build it right so that it lasts. And there's some questions in the chat that you can just think about as we move through this. So those questions are, what's been your relationship with money? Are you comfortable discussing money? Are you comfortable? Do you ever take time off to just think about where you are financially? What's been your relationship with money? Are you a spender? Are you a saver? Are you into recreation all the time that you have to pay for? What exactly has been your relationship with money? Well, if you look at that foundation, protection, we start with protection. And what does protection mean in the financial space? It's, do you have enough to cover yourself if you should lose your job, or if you should get sick, or at some point, are you properly protected in terms of all the protections that you need, right? If you have a car, you're going to need auto insurance. If you have a home, you need homeowners insurance. If you have an apartment, you need renters insurance, and that's protecting you and your property, right? But you also need to protect your income. All right. You need to manage debt in a way that you're not just living paycheck to paycheck. Or if you are in one of those initial stages where you are living paycheck to paycheck, is that paycheck lasting till the next paycheck? How are you between paychecks so that you can manage savings, right? And so savings is a part of debt management. Only owe what is really basic. You owe a roof over your head. You owe transportation, even if it's a bus allowance. You do need to manage that, right? If you have credit cards, you need to not have it eat up a significant portion of your money each pay period, right? And then, of course, we need an emergency fund. Your emergency fund needs to be, as COVID has taught us, at least 3 to 5 times our regular paycheck. So that gives us room for 3 to 5 months. But of course, the ideal situation is at least 10 to 12 times so that we can actually take off for a year if we're between jobs. And so we are secure because our debts are being paid, right? And of course, then there's the investment stage where people might think, oh, well, I'm not there yet. Investment doesn't have to be extra in the sense that you're playing the stock market, whatever, crypto. That's not necessarily where investment starts. It starts with a retirement fund where you may have it at work and they may match it, or you're on your own with it, but you're investing in yourself. And that takes you back even to the intellectual stage where you are taking these classes, these certifications, updating, getting another degree, whatever it takes to be comfortable in that your financial foundation is solid. Do we have any questions about that so far?
Gina has her hand raised.
Go ahead, Gina.
Thank you, Professor. Um, so it wasn't so much a question as a point to raise because we
Mm-hmm.
know, this always talking about like these 400,000 Black women who've been released from jobs in the last year or so, year and a half since this new administration came in. And we
Mm-hmm.
know that a lot of Black women, especially, worked for the federal government, and
Right.
quite a few of them no longer do. So I
Mm-hmm.
just was thinking of all of the people that I know personally who are
Mm-hmm.
now using those emergency funds, who have
Mm-hmm.
prepared for their future, thinking it was going to be further down the road, and learned, that earlier than they planned
Mm-hmm.
to, they had to start using these funds. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it just makes me present to like how important it is to have this, because
Mm-hmm.
for quite a few of us, it's just not part of our conversation growing up. It's not part of our household. I know, speaking personally for me, I come from more of a survival background.
Mm-hmm.
So you just
Mm-hmm.
really don't think that far ahead. You just really were focused on, we need to eat tonight and we'll figure
Mm-hmm.
out, tomorrow's meals tomorrow type of attitude. So yeah, this mindset shift to planning for the future, building a solid foundation is such an important conversation that we're having. But anything for the people who, like I said, quite a few people I know. I was fortunate enough to be retirement eligible, so I was able to retire and get a pension. Quite a few
Mm-hmm.
people were just released. A lot of my friends just got released. They came to work
Yes.
one day and were told this
Mm-hmm.
is your last day. And so you thought
Mm-hmm.
you had a stable, good government job, and you don't. And now they're
Mm-hmm.
just, young and out here in the world trying to find their way, most of whom have not found employment. And it's been over a
Mm-hmm.
year.
Okay. And so in that situation, we are now reacting, right? And part of that reaction is, yes, we prepared to live well, but now we really have to fill in some spaces that are obstacles to living well, like employment. And so that's what makes this starting off part of financial planning for the future, right? Um, the government can pay fairly well, which is why so many of us have worked for the government, and it seems to be a protected space. But as we can see from now, based on the politics of the environment, it may not be a protected space. And so throughout the last few decades, the post office, for example, has not been doing well because of the competition with the FedExes and the UPSs of the world, right? And people aren't, even the internet, people aren't writing as many letters. They're not even sending as many cards. So that was already a flag for us to prepare in some other ways. Look around. And the people who are surviving this actually had a side gig, for example. There is no shame in having a side gig. As a matter of fact, if you have a full-time job and you have a side gig, you may not be taking it as seriously. You're spending it as soon as you make it. And that should really be any side gig at this point should have been or should be a savings program to add to your emergency fund, to invest, to pay down your debt, to make sure you have the right amount of life insurance. So just because you're working does not mean that the money you're making is doing all the things it needs to for you to rely just on that. And so that blue vertical line says know your priority. Your future is your priority. And we've been told some things in memes where you just live for today and everything will be fine. But no, you have to live for today, yes, emotionally, but you are working for tomorrow financially, right? So you are always preparing for the next thing or the next day, right? And so that's where people may are. We've been getting bad advice, like very little. We're getting pocket money, maybe, even if it was a quarter back in the day versus $10 and it went up to $20. Have we spent it all? What kind of conversations do we have with our children or grandchildren or neighbors' children about money? Because as Holy Scriptures in every major religion says, money answers everything, right? It's your roof over your head, it's the clothes on your back, it's the food in your stomach and your refrigerator if you're not eating fresh all the time. And so, what's your side gig to make sure you have all of that? And that also gives you peace of mind. You need to live for today in that you take care of what is needed today, but you're also putting something aside for tomorrow and the next day and for someone else. Because if you're planning to have a family or you do have one, how are you faring within that social space right there? Right? Do you have everything you need? Okay. And so that's why it's important. Some of us were doing it late, and it's never too late to start. You just have to find the right instruments. But we need to start as early as possible to think about these things. And the minute you give your child or grandchild pocket money, you need to have a conversation as to why you're doing it. Yes, I'm doing it because I love you, I want you to be happy, get the things you want. But also, we might set up a plan where you only spend a half of it. We don't have to take that $20 and go to Starbucks 3 times for the day, right? This $20 I'm giving you, this 50 is for the month. And so maybe it should be emergency money. Maybe if the school bus breaks down, you can call Uber and get home, right? So you always have to have a contingency plan. That's right. Living for today, but working for tomorrow. Something in the chat. Was that it? Or is there a question? Welcome, Florence.
We have Genesis live for today, but work for tomorrow. And
Absolutely.
I've been thinking about this for a long time because I'm trying to think about what the next 10, 15 years of my life is going to look like. So I'm trying to make some very future orientated choices because I have a
Mhm.
certain lifestyle in mind. And I did the calculation yesterday. I'm like, hmm. I'm gonna have to do a couple of things differently if I want to live this kind of life. And I had to be
Mhm.
honest with myself and say, you know what, I like things. So that means I need to figure out how to make sure that I put myself in a position where I'm able to have these things that I want, but also have a comfortable cushion to whether if I ever decide to have children, where I'll still be able to have a really good life and give my children a good life as well. And
Mhm.
so now I've just been forcing myself to save money as much, small amounts, big amounts, any amount. Just be like, okay, it's just there. Don't touch it. You don't need to touch it. Like, just leave it alone.
Mm-hmm.
And also trying my best to stay in, not go out as much. But that's not true. I go out as much as I can, but now I know I have a certain limit to when I go out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to money, my in the beginning, my relationship with money was I had a very big scarcity mindset. I had to get over. I was like, oh my God, I need to just I guess buy everything because I don't know when I'm going to be able to have money to buy things again. Instead of saying,
Mm-hmm.
hey, do I really need this thing? Will I perish if I don't have this specific thing? No, I won't. Let me wait. And then I can get it
Mm-hmm.
at a different time. So just
Mm-hmm.
teaching myself delayed gratification and just looking at the bigger picture because I don't know, there's just something happening right now, especially with being online, the instant gratification, wanting to be perceived as someone who is doing well, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and just knowing that I want to live my life a certain way, and if I'm going to live my life a certain way, I need to plan it around my standards and not anyone else's standards, and that means being very financially responsible and maybe even yeah, just being as financially responsible as I can and not trying to keep up with people. I don't want to do that. Prof. Karen Hunter says she plans to live to be 120. So for her financial plan includes taking steps to make sure that 120-year-old Karen is stable. Yes. It's about making decisions that are going to benefit us years from now. And it all starts with the choices we make today. And I'm complete.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So the thing that we forget or we don't really think through, especially nowadays where income seems so high for young people, we spend what our parents would not have spent until they were older. So for example, you need a car, right? If you have no choice, you must get a car. But do you have to get the top of the line car that eats up your income with insurance and monthly payments, right? Can you even lease a car, which is cheaper if you have that opportunity? So why not start with a small Toyota Corolla or whatever, right? Or a Honda Civic. And later you can get the Lexus, you can get the Acura, because those are all, Toyota is Lexus, right? If it's getting you from point A to point B, and in the age of inflation, especially with cars losing value as soon as you drive off the lot, why not get a used car in the year that it's been made, right? So it's still a new car in terms of the year, but you've bought it from a place where it's reliable, it's been taken care of. It might have been an executive car, so it looks really good, but you didn't have to pay the new car price. And do you even have an advocate or someone on retainer, a friend or actually a professional that you're paying at a low price to read contracts for you? You could negotiate your contract, right? So again, everybody needs everything on that pyramid, but they work together and you're setting your priorities, right? If you want to hang out with your friends every day, or every weekend? Do you have to go somewhere where you have to spend money? Or can you just take a bottle of water and you walk in the park? Right? If there's a free festival out there, go to that free festival. They might even allow you to taste food at the different booths. And so you fill up, but you did not need to spend money, right? Now we're getting right there at the bottom of the hour. And what we're going to do maybe is even just, I'm going to read the slides quickly. If you need to go, have a great day. Remember that we're on Facebook, and so you can get that live recording, right? But I will go through the slides really quickly, and so we may need about 10 more minutes. It depends on how much actually you talk, and we share with information, right? So if you have to leave, have a wonderful day, wonderful week. If you don't have to leave, you can still call someone to get on and kind of catch up with us. Okay? And my contact number is in the chat. And of course, again, it will be on Facebook if you're in that group. So, what are our priorities? Right? This covers our lifespan. Let's pretend we're starting out at 30, right? What are the challenges? College education is expensive. Education is now an industry like everything else, and it's one of the worst when it comes to challenging your pocket, right? So look at the difference between a state college and a private college or even community college, because community colleges now, they're the cheapest way to go, and they offer you even 4-year degrees in 3 to 4 years, right? It's up to you. You can go part-time, you can go full-time, and if you are serious and concentrate on your grades, there are scholarships that you can get to cut the costs out of pocket. And of course, if you plan ahead, right, you sign up with the government with the financial aid forms, you based on your income, everybody can get a grant. It just depends on how you position your money in your savings and on the form, because they want to see your IRS. That's the most important thing. Everything else you can put somewhere else. Your paycheck is what they look at, right? And how you have your disposable income. If you die early, unfortunately, there is life insurance, fortunately, right? So that the people you leave behind can actually still take care of themselves if you get the right amount, right? And we could talk about that another time. Of course, hospital bills are one of the highest uh, detractors from wealth. If you get ill, you do have health insurance, but do you have enough? You've positioned it where the deductible, for example, is not going to strain your pocket on your everyday funds. So that could be part of the emergency fund, the deductibles, right? If you are disabled long term, there's a difference between being routine, your routine illnesses. We have certain seasons with our allergies, or we have a minor procedure, but there can also be long-term disability or chronic illnesses. And if you can't take care of yourself in 2 of the 6 basic ways, then you should have long-term care insurance, right? People hear the term insurance and they think, oh, you want my money. But you'd be surprised how insurance can even take care of education, because there are plans with interest, right? There's a return on your investment. And then how do you want to retire? Do you want to travel now or wait until you retire to go to the far off exotic places you've heard about? That's where those investments come in. And if you have paid into the Social Security system for at least 10 years, that is a great supplement to your retirement income, right? And that's when your investments kick in. If you've made some solid investments, not taking too many risks, then you're good to go, right? And then if you want to look at family legacy, what does that mean? There are 2 types. You want to leave funds for your family. That's the obvious. But also, if you want to do something in the name of your family, if you want to leave money for a school, there's an endowment that you want. And it doesn't have to be billions or millions. It can be where you buy an insurance policy and you pay on it, and it's not for anything else but for your school or your fraternity or your sorority. And so you put that in documentation now with your estate plan. And everybody needs to have a will right away, right? You might think you have nothing to pass on, but the minute you own something, you should have a will. Now, when you own a lot and it's complicated to pass on, and you want to save them on taxes, for example, then you can go into the trust situation with the real estate and all of that. But If all you have is life insurance, which you might think that's all you have, life insurance, you don't need a will. You just need to put the beneficiaries, make it clear, right? But you can still put it in the will to remind people of all the things you have. But it does not go into probate. It doesn't go to court. It goes directly, sometimes within 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours, to the people that you have designated it for once the death certificate is submitted, right? If it's your endowment, then yes, you have to record it and put it in a trust. But the trust is just somewhere like a vault where you have everything that you possess, that you see value in, and it's documented that it's there, it's put in properly, and it's dispersed properly. So while you're young and while you're working, that's the accumulation stage, right? And then when you retire, that's the distributions phase where you're taking it out and using it for all these things. And then, and when you pass on, it's still that distribution legacy phase, right? So everything, the accumulation goes up and then it comes down as distribution. And then we have legacy, which could be done in a name or it could be just insurance, right? Um, is there a question in the chat
Yes,
or
Gina
a comment?
had her hand raised.
Okay.
Oh, okay. No, I lowered it because I did realize we were past the time. It was just really a quick comment. When you said about Social Security, that was so important. The way you said it, I just wanted to highlight that because
Mm-hmm.
people do need to understand that it was never designed to be your retirement plan. Social Security was not set up to replace your income as when you retire. Social Security was always built to be part of what they used to call a three-legged stool. So it
Mm-hmm.
would be you have Social Security, you have your personal savings, and you have your
Mm-hmm.
investments or your life insurance and different things. But so many, especially in the Black community in America, so many of us looked at like Social Security, that's the plan. I'll retire
Mm-hmm.
and I'll get my check, and that's my plan. We have to change our minds and understand that we have to take advice like Professor Marilyn is giving us and widen our plan, make a bigger plan than just getting that one stream of income after we stop working.
Right. And
And
and we really should think of Social Security or any other side benefit as extra money.
yeah,
Because it's not, you might think, oh, I'm making 70,000, 100,000, I'll get 10%. So no, that's not how it works. It's whatever they calculate at the time that you get. And it really helps to beat inflation. It could be your cruise money. You could travel with Gina all over the place. It is not really income. It's not enough for you to live on, especially if you end up with some type of long-term need for medications, for example, and you don't want to sacrifice your health for your rent or your mortgage or your insurances, right? So start paying into the Social Security system or even treat a savings and insurance plan as your Social Security if you're not in that system. But Social Security is up to you. It's what you put in, then you get out a portion of it. And it's unfortunate that everybody who works can end up paying into Social Security and they're still not eligible for it when they're ready because they may not have worked or paid into it for the amount of time that they need to. If your company does not take out Social Security, you may want to take it out yourself in a sense where you're paying into something that can then transfer. You want to work somewhere where for 10 years it counts towards your Social Security because you have to work in a certain system, in a certain way, to be eligible for Social Security. And I want people to look that up and get the proper details. It's on the internet. Go to the government site. That's where the direct updated information will be. And hopefully it's not going to go away because there's a threat. Right now, it could be manipulated to pay for an endless war. And then what do? Right? It means that amount will be smaller. Okay? Right. So you have to have some document in place that the government records that you are working in a way that you're eligible for Social Security. And people with green cards, as they call them, they are eligible if they work in that space. You don't have to be a citizen to be eligible for Social Security. It's how you work and how you record that you work that makes you eligible for Social Security. Okay? All right. Any other things in the space before we move on for another 2 minutes? Okay, let's go to the next slide. This is a crucial slide that these two are really important in terms of these are the details of that will and trust situation. You need a will. It is what you want to happen when you have moved on to join the ancestors. So be as clear as possible. Name people or name institutions, right? If you do have a trust and you put all your property, your estate in it, then you may, and you're healthy, you may want it to be revocable, something that you can change, right? You can update it when you get married, when you have children, when you have grandchildren, when you become ill. If someone you trusted is not trustworthy anymore, that's where you change it. So you get a revocable trust, and then, of course, you can put a limit on it to say it is irrevocable once I get to a certain stage, so that people aren't taking advantage of you if you're unable to take care of yourself and you're still alive, right? Real estate, all these things go into that trust, right? Um, it's good to have a power of attorney. When I'm coaching people, and they have children that are starting college, the child at 18 is an adult, totally self-sufficient on the books, right? So they need power of attorney in case something happens to them. It's something that you put aside. It's not something you're giving away if you're capable. You go to the bank by yourself. You shop by yourself. But in case something happens to you, you're in the hospital. They'll pay your rent for you. They'll go to your bank account or use your card to do certain things, and you limit that, right? The medical directive is also known as a medical power of attorney. Same thing. In case that kid has an accident on the road, driving to school or hanging out with friends, then, and you're not there, right? Actually, whether you're there, sometimes parents need these things because your child is 18, so they need to then make you eligible for that power of attorney or medical directive because you've had the conversation. Don't just give it to someone unless you trust them and you've had that conversation, right? Affidavit of guardianship, it's like a good godparent. You still need legal documentation that you're going to take care of this child if the person's not there. And if it's a disabled adult, it's very important, right? And then TOD and POD, if you don't know what that means, um, it's a quick way not to go into probate too long. It's transferable on death, T for transfer, or POD, a bill that's paid as soon as you pass, so that it doesn't become a legacy, your credit to your things that you owe, right? So these are the major estate planning documents. There are others, but these are the basic that apply to pretty much everyone at some point. Okay, any comments about that or questions? Okay, I kind of wove that into other slides that we've discussed, right? Um, we can even just do this for 30 minutes at some point. So is there another slide that everyone will recognize in the room? This is our Maslow, of course.
Oh
So
yeah.
we need Maslow's hierarchy of needs, my go-to. This is my go-to at the wellness wheel and Kwanzaa all year because it tells us the different ways to relate to each other and support ourselves, right? So our psychological needs are met as good money managers. Our safety needs are met. It's a given sometimes when we have the job, but we need to maybe supplement that on the side, right? Our social life, back to the wellness wheel, and our family life, our friendships. We're doing things that are fun but free as much as possible or low cost. So we're hanging out and then we feel good because we can take care of ourselves and maybe even help a cousin somewhere or adopt a child or support, the pet society. And so if we have all these things in place, we feel good about ourselves. And then it's me time. That self-actualization is me time, which can happen as you go along. And then, of course, you spend more time on that maybe as you retire or your responsibilities become less, your children graduate, you don't have to deal with them anymore. But as you can see by the economy, be prepared because you may not be an empty nester. You may have two and three generations in the house because the economy does not support anyone living alone anymore as much, or your child comes back until they get the job, right? They went to college, they went to trade school, and they're waiting for that opportunity to have their own income and take care of their own family, have their own wellness wheel, and meet their own needs. And while they're living with you, part of still teaching that integrated, understood financial planning skill, they need to pay either rent or pay the utilities because it's good to have something in their name to qualify for better credit, to get the car they want or get a car, period. And then, of course, it puts them in the money space and documented money space, right? So they shouldn't just give you $50 for the light bill. The light bill's $50. Maybe the light bill needs to be in their name so that they're building some type of financial status, right? Credit status. Okay, so Mr. Maslow comes in again because it's life and it becomes that wellness wheel if we're doing all the things that are on that. We have our job, we have friends, we have property, then we're feeling much better about ourselves and we're sharing with others, volunteering, supporting a scholarship in Africa or an HBCU or the Caribbean. We're taking care of the community, right? All right. Any questions on that or comments? We see how money works here, right? Money answers all things. But let's not be wasteful or greedy, right? Because then the love of money becomes the root of all evil. Why are we blowing up places all over the world? Because we want what they have without having to pay for it. So it's highway robbery, it's Space Force robbery, it's whatever, right? And how does that help the environment ultimately? It comes back to us. Okay. All right. So if we do the right things from the start, or we start right away now that we know what those things are, then we feel good about ourselves. We are comfortable in different spaces. We can get the things we want the way we can afford to get them. And we can move on to that higher level of self-actualization, being the best we can be among others. Okay, that was a quick run through. And of course, I hope everyone got something out of it. Next.
So how can everyone reach you, Prof?
Thank you. This is how you may contact me. My phone number is basically for texting, right? If I'm in an appointment, I can't answer. So you can text me your email if you're interested in free workshops online that my friends and colleagues all over the US and Canada have every day on different aspects of money management. We have a financial literacy campaign. The Instagram, which is Caribbean Impact, I do a lot of that self-actualization and social empowerment work through that one. And so I share mostly other people's news on that. Um, and then of course you can email me and include your phone number because of course we need both email and phone number for a link to the workshops. Or if you have a specific issue, you can email me a summary of it and then we talk about what to do about it. Okay?
Thank you, Prof. Oh wow, I learned so much today. I'm gonna be texting you very soon. If you appreciated this wonderful, wonderful, very important information, I'd like to encourage you to make a monthly automated love offering. When you give to the space, you sow a seed into the space, we're able to grow, we're able to share, we're able to continue bringing you this important, life changing information. So please consider sowing into the community. The more you give, the more we grow, and we appreciate everyone who has continued to sow into us. Thank you so much. Up next, we have Tamika Jackson tomorrow, and she'll be sharing her title soon. And on Wednesday, we have some more financial advice. So you see, this is a money week. It's a money week, guys. So please come back on Wednesday with David Germain, The Wealth Shift, Positioning Yourself for the Future. So if you are in the space today, I believe that you may have been called to rethink your finances. So think about it. Come through on Tuesday and Wednesday. Thank you to all the new members of the Woo Space, and thank you to everyone who keeps coming back. Please continue to share this with your friends, your family, your respective communities. The more you share, the more people know and the more we grow. So please share, share, share so that we can continue to grow. And this is also just a great way for everyone to start their morning. Here is our weekly Zoom schedule on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. and on Monday and Wednesday from 7 a.m. to 7:30. Text Woo Nation to 74121 so you get a text reminder on who your facilitator will be for the day. Stay in touch with us. Register for our weekly newsletter at bit.ly/wake up movement so you get our weekly lineup and get to know more about our facilitators. And follow us on Facebook at bit.ly/Woo Community, that's our private community, and bit.ly/Woo Nation, that is our public community. Follow us on Instagram at Wake Up Everybody Virtual and subscribe to our YouTube channel at bit.ly/Woo on YouTube. Email us at info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. Thank you so much, everyone. We've reached the end of a wonderful session today. Let's turn our mics on and show our love to Professor Marilyn. Mics on, everyone. Thank you, Prof, for this wonderful information. I'm going to be using all of this information. I need to start planning my life anyway, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. This was really good to hear and know, and I'm so glad you continue to come back to us and share with the community. Thank you so much. We do so appreciate you. I know it's not just me and Malika who appreciate this. So come on in and get in this love shower. All
Come on.
Seeing the hearts and all
yeah,
that.
okay, the hearts are there. The voices
Oh,
may
we
just
need the
not be
voices.
there.
We need the
Yes, all
voices.
right. So thank you so much, Professor Marilyn. And everyone have a wonderful day.
Absolutely.
Thank